The construction of Roman roads. A boring history for sleep. Intro. Soft ambient music plays, like the distant clink of chisels, or the rustle of wind through olive trees. The narrator's voice is warm, slow, and deliberate. Close your eyes and imagine a dusty plain under a wide Mediterranean sky, where workers in rough tunics toil under the sun, their tools scraping against stone. This is the world of ancient Rome, a civilization that stretched from the foggy hills of Britain to the deserts of Egypt. Tonight, we're going to wander through the slow, methodical, and wonderfully ordinary process of building Roman roads, those enduring ribbons of stone that carried armies, merchants, and messages across an empire. This is a story of dirt, sweat, and careful planning, so steady and unhurried it might just lull you into a peaceful slumber. Settle in, let your mind soften, and let's begin our journey along the ancient roads. Chapter 1. The Empire and its Arteries. It's the year 200 BCE, though the Romans don't count years quite like we do. The Republic is growing, its legions marching across Italy and beyond, knitting together a vast empire. Picture a city like Rome, its 7 hills buzzing with life, merchants haggling in the forum, priests offering sacrifices at temples, and senators debating in the shade of marble columns. But an empire isn't just cities and armies, it's connections. To govern lands as far-flung as Spain, North Africa, and Syria, Rome needed roads, reliable, durable paths that could carry soldiers, goods, and orders across thousands of miles. Roman roads were more than just paths. They were the veins of the empire, pulsing with activity. By the height of the Roman Empire, around 200 CE, over 250,000 miles of roads crisscrossed the known world, with 50,000 miles paved in stone. These roads linked Rome to places as distant as Hadrian's Wall in Britain and the Euphrates River in Mesopotamia. They carried chariots, ox carts, and footsore travelers, binding the empire together like mortar in a wall. But how did they build these roads? How did a civilization with no bulldozers or asphalt create highways that lasted centuries, some still visible today? The answer lies in a process so methodical, so repetitive, and so perfectly engineered that it's almost meditative to contemplate. Let's drift into the world of the surveyors, laborers, and stones that made it all possible. Chapter 2. Planning the path. Before a single stone is laid, a Roman road begins with a plan. Picture a surveyor, a man named Lucius, standing on a hill overlooking a valley in central Italy. He's dressed in a simple wool tunic, a wide-brimmed hat shielding his eyes from the sun. In his hands, he holds a groma, a simple but ingenious tool, a wooden cross with plumb lines hanging from each arm, used to measure straight lines and right angles. Lucius squints through the groma, aligning it with a distant marker, ensuring the road will run as straight as an arrow. Roman roads were famous for their straightness, cutting across landscapes with ruthless efficiency. Hills, rivers, and forests were no obstacle. The Romans either went over, through, or around them. Lucius and his team spend days, sometimes weeks, mapping the route. They mark the path with wooden stakes, tying ropes between them to outline the road's course. The goal is to find the shortest, most practical route, avoiding marshes and steep slopes where possible, but never shying away from a challenge. Let's linger on Lucius for a moment. He's not a noble or a general, just a skilled worker, trained in the art of measurement. His groma is his pride, its bronze weights polished to a shine. He walks the proposed route, his sandals crunching on dry grass, noting where the ground is soft or rocky. He consults with local farmers, who know the land's quirks, where floods pool in spring, where wolves prowl at night. His notes, scratched onto wax tablets, will guide the engineers who follow. The planning phase is slow and deliberate. Engineers, called agrimensores, draw up detailed plans, estimating the materials needed: stone, gravel, sand, and timber. They calculate the labor too, knowing that hundreds, sometimes thousands of workers will be needed. Some roads are built by soldiers, others by slaves or local laborers paid in coin or grain. The Romans were practical. They used whoever was available, from legionaries to prisoners of war. Imagine the scene as the plan takes shape. It's early morning, and the air is cool, scented with wild thyme and olive groves. Lucius and his team sit under a tree, sharing a meal of bread and cheese, their tablets spread out on a flat rock. They debate whether to bridge a nearby stream or divert the road slightly. Every decision is weighed carefully, for a Roman road is built to last, not just for years, but for centuries. Chapter 3. Preparing the ground. With the route mapped, the real work begins. Let's follow a crew of laborers to a stretch of land in Gaul, modern-day France, where a new road is taking shape. The workers are a mix of locals, slaves, and soldiers, their faces weathered by sun and wind. They carry simple tools, shovels, picks, and baskets woven from reeds. Their task is to clear the path, a process that's as grueling as it is repetitive. First, they remove obstacles. Trees are felled, their stumps dug out with iron picks. Bushes and rocks are cleared, piled into heaps to be carted away. If the ground is soft, like a marsh or floodplain, workers drive wooden piles into the earth to stabilize it, a technique borrowed from bridge building. In rocky terrain, they chip away at boulders, breaking them into manageable pieces. The work is slow, the sun relentless, but the laborers move with a steady rhythm, their tools clinking like a quiet metronome. Once the path is cleared, they dig a trench, usually 3 to 5 feet deep and 20 to 40 feet wide, depending on the road's purpose. Main highways, like the Via Appia, are wider, built to handle heavy traffic, chariots, carts, and marching legions. Smaller roads, leading to villages or farms, are narrower but no less sturdy. The trench is the road's foundation, and the Romans knew that a strong foundation was everything. Let's picture the trench being dug. It's midday, and the air shimmers with heat. A laborer named Marcus, a freed slave from Rome, swings his pickaxe, breaking the hard-packed earth. Sweat beads on his forehead, and he pauses to drink from a leather water skin, the water warm but refreshing. Beside him, a younger worker, a Gaul named Versing, shovels dirt into a basket, which another carries to a waiting ox cart. The cart creaks as it's loaded, the ox lowing softly as it waits to haul the dirt away. The scene is dusty, noisy, but oddly soothing in its repetition. Dig, shovel, carry, repeat. The trench's sides are sloped to prevent collapse, and the bottom is leveled with care. If the road crosses a river, engineers might build a bridge, using stone arches or wooden beams. If it climbs a hill, they cut terraces into the slope, creating a gentler incline. The Romans were masters of adaptation, shaping the land to their will without machines, relying only on muscle, ingenuity, and time. Chapter 4. Laying the Foundation. Now comes the heart of Roman road building, the layers. Roman roads were not simple dirt paths, but engineered marvels, built in layers like a cake, each one serving a purpose. Let's watch as the laborers begin filling the trench, their work precise and unhurried. The first layer, called the statumen, is a bed of large, flat stones, often quarried locally. These stones, roughly a foot thick, are laid by hand, fitted together like a rough mosaic. Workers use wooden mallets to tap them into place, ensuring they're stable. The statumen is the road's backbone, designed to bear the weight of carts and legions. In areas where stone is scarce, they might use broken pottery or rubble, packed tightly to create a solid base. Above the statumen comes the rudus, a layer of smaller stones mixed with gravel and coarse sand. This layer, about a foot deep, is tamped down with heavy rollers or stomped by workers' feet. Sometimes they add lime or clay to bind the mixture, creating a surface as hard as concrete. The rudus fills gaps between the larger stones, making the road smoother and more durable. Let's imagine this process. The sun is lower now, casting long shadows across the worksite. A worker named Claudia, one of the few women on the crew, hauls a basket of gravel, her arms strong from years of labor. She pours it into the trench, where others spread it evenly with rakes. A soldier, overseeing the work, walks along the edge, his hobnailed sandals crunching on the loose stones. He nods approvingly, knowing the rudus will hold up under the weight of supply wagons bound for the frontier. The next layer is the nucleus, a finer mix of gravel, sand, and sometimes crushed brick or tile. This layer, 6 to 9 inches thick, is packed tightly, creating a smooth, even surface. The nucleus is the road's cushion, absorbing the shock of hooves and wheels. Workers use wooden tampers to compact it, their movements rhythmic, almost like a slow dance. The sound of tamping, thud, 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 blends with the chatter of workers and the creak of carts, creating a soothing backdrop. Finally, the top layer, the summa crusta, is laid. This is the road's surface, made of tightly fitted stone slabs, often basalt or limestone, polished by years of use. In cities or on major highways, these slabs are cut with precision, their edges beveled to fit snugly. On rural roads, the summa crusta might be gravel or packed earth, but it's still smooth enough for carts to roll without jarring. The Romans sloped the surface slightly, like a shallow arch, to let rainwater drain off, preventing puddles and erosion. Picture the summa crusta being laid. It's evening, and the air is cooling, the sky streaked with pink and gold. Workers kneel, fitting stones together like a puzzle, their hands calloused but steady. A foreman, a grizzled veteran named Quintus, inspects each slab, tapping it with a mallet to check for weaknesses. The road is taking shape, its surface gleaming in the fading light, a testament to Roman precision. Chapter 5. The Tools and the Workers. The tools of Roman road building were simple but effective. Workers used iron picks and shovels to dig, wooden mallets to set stones, and baskets to carry dirt. For heavy lifting, they relied on ropes, pulleys, and wooden cranes powered by human or animal muscle. Oxen and mules hauled carts of stone and gravel, their hooves kicking up dust as they plodded along. Surveyors used the groma for alignment, while engineers employed levels and plumb lines to ensure the road's slope was just right. The workers themselves were a diverse lot. Soldiers, often from the legions, built roads during peacetime, their discipline and training making them ideal for the task. Slaves, captured in wars or born into servitude, did much of the heavy labor, their lives defined by endless toil. Local villagers were often conscripted, paid in coin or food to lend their hands. Freedmen and women, like Marcus and Claudia, worked alongside them, earning a living in a world where labor was always in demand. Let's pause to imagine a work site at midday. The sun beats down, and the workers rest in the shade of a canvas awning, sharing a meal of bread, olives, and watered wine. A soldier tells a story of a campaign in Gaul, his voice low and steady, while a local laborer listens, chewing slowly. The air smells of dust, sweat, and warm stone, and the only sounds are the clink of tools and the distant bleat of a goat. It's a moment of rest in a long day, a quiet interlude in the endless task of building. The Romans were practical about labor. They didn't rely on machines because they didn't need them. Human and animal power, combined with clever engineering, was enough. If a stone was too heavy, they used levers or rolled it on logs. If a river needed crossing, they built pontoon bridges or stone arches, their designs so sound that some still stand today. The Via Appia, begun in 312 BCE, was one of the first great roads, stretching from Rome to Capua, and later to Brindisi. Its construction set the standard for all that followed, a model of durability and planning. Chapter 6. The Roads in Use. Once a road was finished, it came alive. Let's follow a stretch of the Via Appia on a typical day. It's dawn, and a merchant named Gaius drives an ox cart loaded with amphorae of olive oil, bound for Rome. The road is smooth, the stones fitting so tightly that the cart barely jostles. Beside him, a legion marches in perfect step, their armor clinking, their sandals raising clouds of dust. A courier on horseback gallops past, carrying messages from the emperor to a governor in the south. The road is a river of movement, connecting people and places in a way the world had never seen before. Roman roads were built for more than just travel. They were strategic, letting armies move quickly to crush rebellions or defend borders. They were economic, carrying grain from Egypt, wine from Gaul, and silk from the east. They were cultural, spreading Roman law, language, and ideas to every corner of the empire. Along the roads, milestones, tall stone pillars, marked distances to Rome, reminding travelers that the eternal city was the heart of it all. Let's imagine a traveler's stop. At Amancio, a roadside inn, Gaius rests his oxen and orders a meal of porridge and fish. The inn is simple, with a dirt floor and wooden benches, but it's a welcome break. Other travelers, a soldier on leave, a priestess heading to a temple, share stories over cups of wine. Outside, the road stretches on, its stones worn smooth by countless feet and wheels. The Mancio is one of many, spaced a day's journey apart, offering food, shelter, and fresh horses for couriers. The roads also had darker uses. They carried slaves to markets, prisoners to arenas, and taxes to Rome's coffers. They were a tool of control, letting the empire keep watch over its provinces. Yet for every soldier or tax collector, there were ordinary people, farmers, traders, pilgrims, who used the roads to live their lives. The Via Appia, the Via Flaminia, the Via Aurelia, all were threads in the fabric of the empire, woven by countless hands. Chapter 7. The Challenges and Solutions. Building roads wasn't easy. The Romans faced floods, landslides, and hostile locals. In mountainous regions, like the Alps, they carved paths through solid rock, using fire to heat the stone and cold water to crack it. In swamps, like the Pontine marshes, they laid wooden causeways, or drained the land with canals. Every challenge had a solution, born of experience and ingenuity. Let's picture a difficult stretch in Britannia, where a road is being built through a forest. The ground is muddy, and rain falls in sheets. Workers, shivering in their cloaks, drive piles into the earth to create a stable base. Engineers design a causeway, layering gravel over wooden planks to keep the road above the mire. It's slow work, and tempers fray, but the Romans persist. By the time the road is finished, it's a marvel. A dry, solid path through a sodden wilderness. Maintenance was another challenge. Roads wore down under heavy traffic, especially in winter. The Romans created a system of upkeep, with local communities responsible for their stretches. Soldiers or hired workers repaired potholes, replaced stones, and cleared debris. Milestones were updated, and bridges inspected. The roads were a living system, cared for like a garden. Let's imagine a repair crew at work. It's a cool autumn day, and a team patches a section of the Via Flaminia. They pry up damaged stones, replace them with fresh ones, and pack gravel into the gaps. A supervisor, a retired centurion named Titus, watches closely, his eyes sharp despite his age. The work is routine but vital, ensuring the road remains passable for the next cart, the next legion. Chapter 8. The Legacy of Roman Roads. The Roman Empire fell, but its roads endured. Many became the foundation for modern highways, their roots still visible in Europe's landscape. The Via Appia, now a tourist attraction, stretches through olive groves and vineyards, its stones worn but intact. In Britain, roads like Watling Street carry cars where legions once marched. The Romans didn't just build roads, they built a network that shaped the world. Let's drift to the Middle Ages, when monks and merchants still used Roman roads to travel. They marveled at the engineering, calling them works of giants. In the Renaissance, engineers studied Roman techniques, copying their layers and drainage systems. Even today, archaeologists uncover Roman roads, their stones a testament to a civilization that valued order and permanence. The roads were more than stone and gravel. They were a symbol of Rome's ambition, its ability to impose structure on a chaotic world. Every slab, every milestone, every bridge was a piece of that vision, built by hands long forgotten. As you listen, imagine those hands, calloused, dusty, steady, laying stones under a Mediterranean sun, their work outlasting empires. Chapter 9. A Quiet Day on the Via Appia. Let's end our journey with a final scene. It's a quiet afternoon on the Via Appia, just outside Rome. The road stretches straight and true, its stones warm under the sun. A laborer, an old man named Sextus, sits by the roadside, his tools at his side. He spent his life building and repairing roads, his hands scarred but strong. A cart rumbles by, its driver nodding in greeting. In the distance, a legion's dust cloud rises, and a courier gallops past, his horse's hooves drumming a steady beat. Sextus leans back, closing his eyes. The air smells of dust and wildflowers, and a breeze rustles the olive trees. The road, his life's work, stretches to the horizon, connecting Rome to the world. It's a moment of peace, a pause in the endless task of building, repairing, and traveling. Good night, and may your dreams wander the ancient roads of Rome, where stones and steps carry you into a quiet, endless night.